Thank you very much. And again, I join in the apology for your long delay. Thank you for coming. We have called you this afternoon to talk about the negligence of the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, that has led to the loss of lives of some 11 or more people at the Anglo Gold Ashanti mines in Obuasi and Newmont in a related violence. This, in our view, is a very important matter that some of you in the media have talked about, but we think that it requires the attention of all of us as a people to nip this in the bud. Those souls that died or perished on that day needn't be dead as we speak. They had a chance to be alive, except that the NDC and the leadership of their party, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, were negligent. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, please, if you will indulge me, since we are live, let's just take about 10 seconds to observe silence in the memory of these people who have lost their lives under these very strange and difficult circumstances. Just 10 seconds. May their souls rest in peace. Again, before I go on, let me stop here and extend the sincere condolences of our party, all of our membership, our leadership, to the families and friends of these Ghanaians who happen to be members of the National Democratic Congress who perished on Sunday, the 19th of January. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC resorted to violence immediately following the peaceful elections on December 7th. Which election they won? The presidential and the legislative election they won. And the New Patriotic Party, led by our flag bearer, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, considered defeat appropriately and congratulated then President-elect John Dramani Mahama, now President of the Republic, and the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration cooperated with them duly to supervise a very historic transition on the 7th of January 2025. Notwithstanding the NPP's goodwill and support for the NDC leadership and the president-elect at the time, they looked on while their members took the laws into their hands to attack, terrorize, and violate Ghanaians. The NDC and its grassroots had ignored all calls to stop the violence. Instead, violence. The NDC party was acting. They abused and attacked electoral commission officers and personnel. They attacked and abused police officers and police installations. They attacked government institutions. And recently, as we are talking about today, in Obuasi, when the incorrigible thugs of the NDC thought that they could invade a private company, which sadly resulted in this bloodshed that we're talking about. All of these violent incursions by the NDC thugs and grassroots members received the tacit support of the NDC leadership and President John Dramani Mahama. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, you remember many of these attacks. Many of these attacks. The plot was to show you some of these videos, but I'm very much aware that you have them. You have copies. We watch them on your screens. Some of them you reported online. We watched them. So you are aware of these videos that I'm talking about. But as time goes on, if we can show them to you, we'll key them out for you to see. But many of these violent instances you are aware of. I'll just take a minute to outline a few. If we get a video, you watch them. But it started with attacks on the EC offices, destruction of pink sheets and related electoral materials and evidence in constituencies the NDC knows they've lost. And police installations also came under attack, and you recall the infamous attack at the Tema Central police station, with the pressure on police to declare the NDC winners of that seat. At the end of the day, you have seen where the result has gone, but the NDC at the time, with their leadership, tacitly encouraging its people to go and rampage these state institutions and security installations. And the strange thing was that the police could not do anything under the pressure and the inducement of the NDC leadership for their thugs to attack these security posts. The NDC thugs attacked the following institutions after President Mahama took office. Now, outside of the ones that he did following the elections, especially in the parliamentary elections, in about some 12 or so constituencies which they know they lost, but then wanted to insist the result to be declared for them. After His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, took office, they carried on, and his administration watched and did nothing. I want to tell you about the attack in the New Jabbing Municipal Assembly. This happened in broad daylight. The government, then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, did nothing. The thugs from the NDC, again, they stormed Tor, the Tema Oil Refinery. They sacked all the employees and locked up the premises. This happened in broad daylight, and the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama did nothing. The NDC thugs again attacked cocoa board offices. This happened in broad daylight, and the NDC and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama did nothing. The NDC thugs again attacked the Ministry of Energy, threatening the workers there, threatening the lady who was manning the reception that if she would not cooperate with them, they would sack her from the place. The President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, did nothing. His party did nothing. The NDC thugs again burned down police installations in Adra and Atebubu. The NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was aware, they knew about it, they did nothing. Again, the NDC thugs attacked the Eastern Regional Offices of the National Health Insurance Authority, the National Service Secretariat, the School Feeding Secretariat, the TVET, and the National Lottery Authorities. These were happening in broad daylight, yet the NDC and President John Dramani Mahama did nothing. Now, I wanted you to follow these instances and see where it culminates to a point where the people think, the NDC thugs think that they could not be stopped, they could not be touched, and that they are invincible, that they can do whatever they want. And their government, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and their party, led by Chairman Asedu Nketia, and the General Secretary, Mr. Fiavi Fifi Koite, would do nothing, and they carried on. There have been many instances of violent conduct by the NDC members with full knowledge, as I indicated earlier, of the party leadership and the president-elect at the time and now President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. They knew what their party members were doing, but they urged them on with their silence. They urged them on. And as we all know, they say silence is consent. And in this particular instance, they needn't say anything. They were just watching, and their members knew what message they were sending. Carry on, and indeed, they carried on with the violence. I am aware of, and probably you two are aware of, some letters they issued belatedly. But between you and I, we know those letters were just for the optics. They didn't issue them in good faith for their members to stop the violence. It was just for you and I to think that they were doing something. It was skirmishes, it was not honest, it was not intended to stop them. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC must take responsibility for this gruesome murder of the 11 or so people that happened in Obuasi. And incidentally, the people that were killed, very painfully, happened to be members of the National Democratic Congress. The NDC in this instance failed to protect and save the lives of these Ghanaians who are members of their party on the occasion when they died, they failed to protect and save them because they failed to lead, they failed to show leadership, they failed to tell them the truth, they failed to caution them that in this country there are laws. You can't just up and go anywhere just because your party has won an election and therefore terrorize and take over private setups as though they were yours. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the implication of this conduct by the NDC people, because we are all mourning, which is why I'm wearing black today, we will not go into it, but they have that particular conduct, the one that happened at the AGA premises, has real implication for foreign direct investment in our country. And that is something the NDC ought to know. But they preferred to allow their politics to go ahead of the national interest. And so they failed to caution and advise their members as the lawlessness possessed their political party. It spilled over, and in Obuasi on the 19th, we saw the rather regrettable, the rather avoidable, and the painful exit of those members of their party. So in essence, it is the failure of the NDC leadership, including His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in their legitimate duty of cautioning and advising their people to desist from the lawlessness that has led to the painful loss of lives of these young people. The silence of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC indeed urged their thugs on in the rampage that we see, which unfortunately culminated in the loss of lives that we're talking about. They felt invincible, as I said earlier, untouchable and unstoppable. The bloodshed in Obuasi could have been avoided had the NDC cautioned their members against the violent rampage after the December 7th election, which they won. The grassroots, ladies and gentlemen, of every political party, and I want to make this point very clear, the grassroots of every political party, for that matter, any member of a political party will take directives from the leadership of the party, no matter what the situation. So if it were the case that the NDC called on their members to desist from the violence, honestly, they would have done it. But because they failed to do that, their members took the cue that the silence of their leaders meant that they carry on. They carry on, and which is the reason why we are where we are, and sadly, having to talk about the loss of lives in this case. The NDC is running around talking about some loss of lives, which is painful in elections. We want to let them know that the loss of lives, whether they are their members or not, they are Ghanaians, and this is regrettable, and this ought to be avoided. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will have to take responsibility for this squarely and fairly. It is because it is their inactions that led to their death on the 19th of January. We would like, ladies and gentlemen, to call on the Ghana Police to conduct its investigations and ensure justice is served expeditiously. We also want to warn the police not to engage in any backroom deals with the John Mahama administration to shield anyone in this matter. We need to emphasize that point because from every evidence we have discussed with you here, the responsibility for this unfortunate passing or slaughter of our fellow Ghanaians who are members of the NDC in Obuasi on the 19th of January 2025 is as a result of the negligence of the NDC and the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And so, they shouldn't engage in any backroom deals to kind of discolor the investigation, make it appear as though that it was an unfortunate thing, something that has happened. We don't want the police to engage in any backroom dealings with the government to cover up for anyone so that we don't see justice in this matter. It shouldn't be the case that they are their members, so they will cover this up. We are interested in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen, we are interested in justice for these NDC members, and we hope His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic of Ghana, will not shield or attempt in any way, shape, or form to clear anyone who is culpable in the supervision of the slaughter of these Ghanaians who are members of their party. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. The Aya Kanini say, December 7th, yetu aba, ayena yenim say Ghana yetu aba December 7th, no. The koba ayena ni say NPP, abano ankwa mayen, eba presidential no a NDC for ne winnie ye papa John Dramani Mahama no winnie abano. And parliamentary so omu winnie dodo. And in terms of MPP, Kaidini, Frank Etuni, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, a consider. Yeah, they are a bin seeder. In terms of consider. In Tinaya, Sabane Sadia, and Yasumji, said the about one across from Jimu, now resort in the binds in 10 terms of MPP. Yankasa internal coalition, Yanchama, AC, and Fan, and we did Sabamba. Yankasa, a dra now, so a share numbers only who say. And Koya mine, and the Bekan say, Papa Mahama winning, enti the amano. Nanado Danko Kufadu are buying the general now so support to Yema transition, a course so January 7, Papa John Dramani Mahama, a big idea or no president of Ghana. Yet to a bunny, you know, one media for, one cameras and a capture, said the NDC for a start ya, ye brunipa easy for near Bromo. You come office near Shishinyoma police stations near Shishi. Pink sheet idea dance yes when I win and also NDC for a fanina no mu at the tin yoma basa. You from Mosombra coalition waba Mako Jina a horse a bay idea nafe the omode omotax aba na man for crocratu a branch be a mokunum and then you see a man of appointment why young man no the two. Pump action, lawlessness, complete recklessness. And I'm going to take Ghana, Abraham will win the election. Yenina ni manye ku na moye ya ban yenina akɔto na mawini. Mawini asumdwe yenkoso na Ghana enkoreni. But omo de sa basa yoyi e de hya ase akosie obi anka ho hwe. Ye papa John Dramani Mahama no ayefun no otie no ohwe. Omo party mpanifo ayefun no mutie no mo hwe. Na de course wa enti umrante o party ni mo no abeti omo ho ase so ade yi omo party na aba enti de omba ye bia ombetumi aye omaya akosi mo panifo anka hwe enti ababa ye suban a abeda omo so tomo sori a aban edwuma bia no makoto ahye omo so mumpie me sure say mo hwe de si Kumasi Sports Stadium a me refi kura man kanka ho sa de no wo hwa anyeye obakofo afatuo no wo nam office pie sa de ebi nsi da empo se bi esi etwemu a enye se ye be koso sa NDC form penifo anka hwe the former president John Dramani Mahama no wo hwe no wo tie sa obeteki power nso so say ya na NDC for edit ne akọ to ne aka kire mo se mumpie ba ko amete ye VRA omo call ye junior staff wo ho efre senior staff se mo mbra afide ya ba na aba they were issuing instruction to the senior staff as though say company no abedi omonsa yanka hwe NDC for ye hwe ha ama omo mbrante no terrorize Ghana for terrorize government institution omo terrorize police station mo ka ye dwura ye hye ne drobe yanka hwe police anye hwe Rapa Dampari say or Ghana how so ni how NDC for e dey manage show mu nsem be member okrom ha obi ani ha obaka bibi ometie enti sabaye suban wo party ni mu dia yenso so yete Obuasi yenso be ye bi mokai omo women organizer meeting a oyeye e ka kire omo say oh ya ban ba mu te say ya declare ye Papa Mahama na be bia mo pe bia mo take you mo fa chisel ne hammer na mo nko gold mine ho Yenia Captain Smart. Ono de NDC akwakoye nsem bintim pese meka but ono so kase bi okaye mu media for nsem bi amokeka na akwakoye se bebre na se o ye party we we e na emra constitution dey amamo say mu ni asem no mu na mo ye the fourth realm of the state no mu making sure say mu be hold politicians accountable no afi dey bebre na o media ni mu abe join politicians no ne kama NDC ne ka omo ya de ye nka near rationalize it. And a coffee buy. Enti Mrantia, we are Ghana for, though we are NDC for there. But Enam says, Sa Subana course Sophie, December 7th. Sa Kosi, I will be on country, Yanchu will be a young punish will be until almost so. Say will be a monina, Yansu Yanko Yebi. And a Fofi Antoata. Nayantia Sampa. Nipa be 9, 10, 11, and ye Cuomo, a BC, New Mont, and so. Mrante ni bi so call as a cotusha almost say, ya buy a banty a barbaji. Sa and ye tnamem. Fourth Republic democracy ye, sa ya no yamran ye dear. Bend is the four ha, Momratiano, a say, to me, after Bibiano moo, and not Yantia Sampa, sa a ye cobai. Until the friend one, they can say. NDC penny for from your papa, Sedun Ketia, or call on General Secretary Fifi Kote. And President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Omu negligence and akofa weyaba, Omu tacit support for the lawlessness that possess Omu party. No Omu to me and Kahushe. Yes, is a Benny Buni says, Penny Ufie na yes, I say, na kana a kind nanka wifwa, Omoso Kahubi. But yes, on my ha or party him, or mine. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. One year coup. Ye twaba and a year. After the sa violence here free him. Every him, no one to man cafe. And I don't know more members. Aquaku. As I say, yeah, the violence Nashi show more party. Women organizer catch them say, yeah, we need Pamudia moon taking the law into Monsem Namunko, Bibia Mopebia, Nadia Mopebia Monko fine free. Sanity. And the answer sampa. And your friend is Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So I'm taking responsibility. Now I'm taking responsibility. No, no man, you almost say, Omani police for back at Traho, near Kayakatasu Muaso. Now, Bonia course where you coon nipa. San Crofono, Omo NDC 4 there, but Omo now for 4 NPP 4, Omo Crofoa. I say, Omo and fat party home, almost so any more a watchaka. And it's Omo Wa, and NDC 4 national, the Yenina Ghana for national. Timomo kwa katasumu muasubia and fast semu in kwa foolish case. Na nipa na ewu no. Nye baako. Nipa 11 and ewu. Enti ye kase police for nyo modwuma kokurudo so. Emre bi atwa mu no mo kasa bebre ate. Enne no omunye adwuma me enti ne yenhwe yenso ye ni die chire papa. Na mo make sure say bebia asemo no beko no onwo adi bone no ye ma emra no ani omundi ni pepepe. Na ehonso so ya frɛ ya papa John Dramani Mahama ya ka kyerɛ ne sɛ police for na beba ne ho aka sɛ o ye be moamoa so akata so a na ana sɛ ɔno na bɛkɔ ɔmo ho a ɔnka ehunu sɛ ye ni die kyire ye mpɛsɛ ye bɛte sɛ otu anama obi e de akɔva obi ana sɛ otu anama obi e de akle obi ɔmo ma police for no nye investigation no na result wo mu no onfambra na Ghana fo nyina ne yenhwe ne yemfa nsuade na omo adi bone no yenhwe omaso da mo nyina sesemo bai. I hope say there's no question. Then, just 2 questions, yes. Well, I'm saying I'm more able to only the NA2. Say, Ebema Ghana phone you to say a dear course, and yet. Now, I don't know a course you know, and quite a brim you know, they can't catch the NDC for say, Momo and a Omo Crawford in Yakasachre, but oh my, and he, anybody actually. Now, investigation and move and new December banner. Now, a such a woman, you ever say, or more Eddie Boneno, you bet your muscle. Now, I am Fatu Huama, a Fufra, and Shah, Mbabesias at the Bonnie way, if you are Mohono, now Muja, Sebeya, ya dear way, a being Sibu, and tea, and I'm able to know, and no, as a party, a bedi chili party, and make sure say, a brano, a bayjuma. Debbie, there Manobuso American and say, Omoa Akoye Amani Pe Wusano. Safon, police for a investigation. Emma treat Safon Aso. And no, they are some other ponoso. Where they are all kind of ransom, they focus on Nasam, so not infending. Yeah, ejina hai mate de okana se ejina enye blame game ne ye no kura ne ye ka se nipa ewu police for nso say ye investigation omumfa emunsembra ene ya ka kire papa John Dramani Mahama say mon ko ekata so mo aso so pese sa de etutwa on make sure say on e di bone sa asem yi mu no ye be twa maso na asem we etutwa bin CBO Ghana ha ti eni abre pa say be make sure say justice will be served in this matter. Now, Omo edi bone no, you bet show maso pepepe.
Yes, sir. Are you the party made a mistake by insisting the anti-vigilante law was passed? Because your party members, some of them, when you speak to them, they feel that you are restraining them so much, and they would want to react to what the NDC is doing.
Yeah, there Abraham come here show some matter, but the opposite candidate say ana NPP you see or member your party ni mu and na omo de omo phone na NDC for to a share for so aye bro mu emra na ye di adwuma NPP ati ase say emra tia say party board vigilante ne de aka no but the NDC for emfa emra nya adwuma eno ne ye hu enti no mu nyina Ghana for masomo amanimu na asem we nyina si enti muma ay mani nko ho monka bi media for monka bi asem no enkoyi a monka bi na say we ha mo me hu mo mayi mo logos me hu motimu studio morning show na asem na madane asem nani but say yes na be ya asem a ye nyina na etimu Ghana ha enti muma ye nyina nka no kure ye fa no kure nya adwuma na Ghana sumdue nkoso ntra because election ya December 7 before I be call no bia aye tense say ye ntia sempa but e ba ye de ne ba call na sumdue so senkanye NDC for ena ye ma omo members etusha manfo so terrorization yoma because election way will be one of the most peaceful elections in the history of this Fourth Republic enti besre say media for no yesre mo bodwuma ne say enkoyi a mo beka but na say mu de akwa ye say enkoyi a mo mpese mo beka de enti aba ne sa no ye enti ase ye ne mo be ye adwuma they are making sure say ye di ye betu ye they are making sure say the political class is held accountable say ye nsusu a hold us accountable say NDC for hold them accountable but mo media ni bi me share logos no na say die ababa ye gospel or ye bone kura mo nkan ma hwemu na ma preaching foforo yesre so mo making sure say ye de no kure ebe ye adwuma na Ghana akonanim timi da say am say question ni na what dem ba oni a nkasa anabi mpacho hwe ni ye efia ye ona anabi wo hanti no oka okay
President Musa said election NPP party see the candidate ejitu muntam who just say no tin ma NPP for NDC for react here now because so a lot of police centers now
please
NPP phobia
well mpacho yenye kom kakra the tiene say ade ye odia na ye de mawa unko hu bio ensa na te ade ye odia say yesi emfa ma wana obeko yesi odia dia mawo yesi support wa ma wa transition aba be di usa fully nti ntokwa okui ase ne zai nyansa bi enim sebi nyansa bi enim nyina so bi enim ase ne zifo akokokosa MPP nke ye nyesa enti ye baba Dr. Mahmoud Baumia concession oye no papa say be boa ma democracy all can okra no can say tension na e wo wiase nyina ye nyina ye ko election mu na manfo suro no oh yes a concession no e manoma ba fo mprekope ma manfo hu no say Ghana ya gi democracy ato na ka say NDC fo so dey side democracy kura be edwuma no manfa nye enti ni nyina e de yemfa so NDC fo yemfa so papa John Dramani Mahama ene e papa say dun ketia ne me hu say all your moves be the all you say ye hu but ni nyina no boni o madi I say leadership as o mu show o man show no and no na akofa we mu nyina aba ama kire say o munye democrat o ma kire say aba ye 2 years odue so de tumi ma o mo no o mani anso na o munya ya anka komo de patapa na anka ba beje o man no but Ghana for e ma eni na ho na NDC for de o munya nkrofo a e say e jaja o mo say make sure say be so jagu o mu chem ntira be stress mu media no mu mwa yen enkoye say NPP for the yeka mu nyina me enka because Ghana no e nyina ye de na e be gina ha NDC for asem de yeka o NDC for na akoko lusu o mo nkwa de yeka ho asem ade ne NPP ye na because etia onyonko ho a etia duam aye ohawa abeto o mo so no ade say Ghana ni ana Ghana for na ewu no ye fa ne say yankasa ye nkrofo na ewu no kasafo no be enche bia no be start abadwane NPP because the party no mo no was I when say nkotoko SCC na say mu be 2 days ago bole president Nangasa Krum ya sheshe ni oma sheshe ja ya won say ono Nangasa ni family house kura ahwa on be to ahye ho what they say nkrofo yin democrat NDC for yin democrat mo ya patapafo yen nananom at the beginning of this fourth republic and the stress from international pressure by ya no mojitu mo say be democracy what it to omokasa omo no nya ya anka patapa no nkwa no betra Ghana okay me dey try to papa John Dramani Mahama say omo no ya de patapa na twa mo fruma anya sa no kai enti we wi ni aba asomdwe mu so sa de patapa ena de aba ti yesre say media mama so mani ene maso di asem ye chi ya make sure say ye nuanu mo mawi ya ye ombenya justice da mo nyina ase one a question
Is it about post-election, and I say post-election violence, and I say Obi Newu, and my youth, no, police station. I need that clarity because you can say, post.
na say onia so na we journalist no be sekisa clarity from me one na say go check na we want me say one na we journalist and I onye journalist to bo jai say ask a question maybe say we a journalist ote grasa me say ote say BBC sir then see come at me then see
Munji bumko obi anko pede akom de na onya obedi o obi anko abodam munko listen say AGA no let me tell you if you guys don't take care we will chase you out of this country I swear my careful we will chase you out of this country because listen move it to the cyanide hole almost 100 meters square aqua to South Africa. Baby, move me cyanide square 100 meters square Samiensa to South Africa na nye ti bonko som panifo edi en so na bona ana se bona yenum di en so a ebede na nipa betwa niama wenum moment me South Africa enu ni ade a me pese na na do te ase Minister of Lands and Natural Resources te ase AGA say Obuasi and the youth of Obuasi rise. Mo sorry. If you say when you go to be mpandi dia, ebe kakra ukwati bewu.
That's what that people will hold and I had to do it. But the other thing, the people want to get on to the but the president over the state of Washington and from the show. Woodman, no be able to attack 2,000 police people party on the power not ever. The power never. Who protected by the state of Washington? Small scale, there is not a number. The president was the Indian who said, I have come here with the whole security. Yeah, go, yeah, it's just a little. Yes, no. Never going to say the money here. Come on. You're back one number. Must be a little function. Yes, everybody in their home. Me as a political organizer, I was with 200 young men. Yeah, we will vote now. We will have a papa starting now. Not a cat in the man and some people take the leg. Yes, I'm going to
Is it